Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of astrology to get into. This week is a big one. We have some energetic peaks going on. We actually have two very intense aspects happening simultaneously on the 21st this week. We have both Saturn and the North Node and actually Venus in exact alignment in the sign of Pisces. This is an energy that only comes around once a decade or so, so pretty rare alignment going on there. This specific conjunction has actually been defining a lot of what has played out throughout this entire month of April. We're going to be talking, of course, a lot about that in our report for the day, but it is being seconded by a very kind of like equally intense grand cross in fixed signs that is taking place, featuring a Mars-Pluto opposition that will come exact later this week. The Sun in Taurus exactly squaring Mars in Leo, squaring Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, and also the Black Moon right now happens to be transiting through the very early degrees of Scorpio. The Sun will be forming exact opposition to the Black Moon in Scorpio this week as well, with Pluto and the Black Moon both really kind of center stage, with Mars and Leo and the Sun in Taurus in this fixed square. There could be some underworld energy that is being kind of like unearthed, or that we are seeing in a very illuminated way as we do move through the course of this week. Intensity, pressure, things coming to a head, like breaking point energy kind of all over the nature of the charts that we have playing out. And we do have a new moon in Taurus that will also feature that Mars-Pluto opposition with the Sun and the Moon in Taurus in square as we close out this week. So I do think this is probably one of the most significant astrology weeks that we've got going on actually in this entire 2025 year, just because of how this is all coming together, you guys, and we've got a lot to talk about. So let's get into our report of the day. Let's open this week, take a look at all we've got going on energetically out there, to get our week started and what things might look like for us as we head towards the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, April 21st, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We will do that at the end. I also wanted to say happy Easter to all of you out there who celebrate. I forgot to make a reference to the holiday in my last weekend video, so I hope that you guys had a beautiful holiday. And moving on to the astrology, we've got so much going on this week. As I mentioned in my intro, to me this is probably one of the most impactful, like, kind of energy climax weeks that we have all 2025 year. There's a couple of different things happening, and this is not anything new. If you guys have been following my channel, if you follow the astrology, then you know that this energy has been building for several weeks now. Saturn in the North Node coming into a conjunction in the end of Pisces. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks at least. Venus being there as well. Yes, we know that because Venus had been retrograding right through that degree range and then stationed direct and is now right back with those planets in the end of Pisces as well. On the other side of that, we have this, it's a T-square, but if you count the Black Moon, which I'm counting the Black Moon because the Black Moon operates by conjunction or opposition, and we happen to have an exact opposition happening to the Black Moon, and it's the Sun. So to me, that is like significant and impactful. I'm counting the Black Moon as a planet. I'm calling it a grand cross. You can call it a T-square if you want to, if you don't want to count the Black Moon, but either way, fixed signs, early degrees, all the like, this is energy that is busting up resistance somehow. This something is powerfully coming through here that is gonna make some type of impact that loosens up things that have been stagnant, fixed, cemented in place for long periods of time. Some type of powerful transformation or transition is going to come from whatever powerful forces are coming to a head as we move throughout the course of the week. This week, I've been talking about this energy as well. I talked about it last week. This has been building. So, if you've been following along, like I said, then you're familiar with the fact that we are and have been moving into this energy as well. But like when we add the combination of Saturn and the North Node, and then just for fun, we've got Venus there as well. And then we also put Mars and Pluto in an opposition. Like, that's one of the most intense energies, oppositional alignments in all of astrology, when we have these two very powerful, like masculine energy oriented forces coming head to head with one another. This is going to represent some type of very like energized, motivated, powerful transformation, and it does bring confrontation, power struggles, things coming to a head in a way where like there's two different sides of something perhaps, and like one is seeking to dominate. The energy of like conquering and domination is kind of all over things right now as well. And then of course, for good measure, we bring in that black moon in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio happens to be ruled by Pluto and Mars, okay? Scorpio and the black moon, that is like a lot of shadow side underworld energy being spoken of. Pluto is also the lord of the underworld. And then we're literally talking about the sun. All things that have been hidden or that have been like festering under the surface in a way that has been like toxic or preventing things to grow in a proper, organic, upright manner, okay? Removing distortions and blockages to growth through some type of illumination or light being shown into the shadows, the crevices, the, underbelly of things. That's what we're talking about here. And again, like perhaps the powerful impact that has somehow on the way that things are going to have to change moving forward. Now, there's two. The third thing that we have going on here this week as well is also Uranus, the galactic fixer, blessings in disguise, the great awakener, and the ruler, okay, of the sign of Aquarius, co-ruler with Saturn. We've got both the rulers of Aquarius also very active this week in their ongoings. So that to me, especially with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius functioning here as well, that to me is indicating that on this greater level, the things that are transpiring this week, even if we can't necessarily perceive it in such a way at the time, while it's playing out, they are actually important in the greater transition of ages that is underway right now, as we are beginning a process of rooting this Aquarian age energy energetically to the planet right now. This series of activations that's coming through this week is playing a strong role in that effort or effect, or in terms of like helping to move that process along. So there is something here that is also helping to usher in this Aquarian age in a more tangible way. As a result, I think perhaps of what this energy leads to, what it's catalytic of or for, or like the dominoes that it sets off, perhaps the chain reactions, I don't know, but something about powerful transformations that are moving us forward in a way that more so aligns and resonates with the incoming Aquarian age. Got that going on this week as well. But anyways, as I was saying, Uranus also happens to be exactly aspecting the north and the south nodes of the moon as well this week. Of course, if you guys study astrology, north node, south node, Rahu and Ketu, regardless of the system of astrology that you're dealing in or what you're calling them, it has to do with destiny and karma in the past and the future. And the energetic upgrades that are underway right now and the karmic loops that are being broken in order to facilitate that process. We're talking about Saturn being the lord of karma in alignment with the destiny point in the sign of Pisces. This is some type of fated dissolving of karmic conditioning or karmic loops or karma generally that has kept us tethered to this Piscean age, which again, on this greater level, we are working to evolve out of right now. Like on the flip side, the like other side of the coin in terms of what this energy is bringing in. As I've been saying, also, if you guys have been following my channel, this time is just the epicenter of like endings and beginnings, the past and the future. Again, like this nodal activity that has been going on lately, Saturn being there, and then also Uranus having to do with the future. Like Saturn is the lord of karma, the lord of time, having to do with the past and things that have been set in stone, like the structures and the foundations that have essentially like been the pillars of our perceived reality. With Saturn in a sign of Pisces right now, our belief systems over this past, literally Saturn is like the recorded history, like the past age. And then Uranus, this is the energy that represents the future. And Uranus, the way that I generally perceive this energy in its functioning is that it like facilitates a process of potential to come to its point of actualization. This is an energy that, again, like it has to do with the future, and it has to do with the changes that need to be made, what needs to be realigned in order so that some higher future potential or some self-actualized future course, some like greater cosmic purpose has the ability to unfold in accordance with like the most direct route to that manifestation. And it's interesting also because, you know, Saturn and Uranus are both the co-rulers of the sign of Aquarius. And when we're dealing with the sign of Aquarius, a lot of times I feel like that is about breaking out of previous limitations, learning how to overcome things that have held us back in the past in order to facilitate a process to like arrive at a greater potential or a more self-actualized state. It is an energy that has a lot to do with potential, purpose, and the process of self-actualizing to that point as this future course seeks to manifest itself through some direct alignment. Uranus also, of course, removes, like it's the galactic fixer, the great rectifier in the sign of Taurus right now as well. It is functioning to remove blockages to growth that have prohibited or prevented that organic growth in alignment with that higher plan or higher path or more self-actualized state to come to fruition. So this is going to be an energy. And then Uranus in the trine to the south node in the sign of Taurus, south node in the sign of Virgo, in a sextile to the north node and Saturn and Venus. Mind you, Uranus is also in the sign of Taurus right now. As I've said, that sign is ruled by Venus, who's in the conjunction to Saturn. There are so many pieces fitting together here in such unique ways that are really telling such like an epic tale right now about what is transpiring and the like greater impact that it's going to lead to as we move forward down this like, or in this new direction, down this new path that everything is being redirected towards right now. I'm telling you guys, like once we move down the road a bit, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 20 years from now, we're going to look back at this time right now and we're going to be able to see very clearly like that this was a huge epicenter of when things really started to shift and to move and reorient themselves in some new direction that is only going to continue to grow as we move forward into this energy where, again, like the Aquarian age is beginning to emerge and just make its presence known in a more obvious way. So anyways, I'm going to get to my notes now and get more specifically into the energy, but that's what we have. We have the Saturn North Node alignment, rare alignment, don't get it all the time. Venus is there as well, which is even more just sort of, you know, unlikely yet happening and very telling also. Then we have the Uranus trine to the south node, the galactic fixer, facilitating some type of karmic release while also like supporting our ability to move towards whatever that new chapter is requiring of us, these upgrades that we are simultaneously being really urged to make right now. And then we've got the square, the big square in the sky between the Pluto-Mars opposition and also the sun and the black moon. This is conquering something, you guys. Conquering a temptation, conquering a fear, conquering an addiction, taking power back in some type of way. The ultimate outcome here, again, like of this energy, and maybe something or an element of what gets shaken loose here, is going to be a renewed sense of personal power, and perhaps even like a renewed sense of belief and faith in our ability to do things or to go in a direction or to build something that maybe previously we would never have imagined ourselves capable of. So there is tremendous growth that is associated with whatever challenges we've got going on right now, but that they are, I mean, this is that combination of energy right there, all of those three things, any one of them would indicate a period of some pretty tremendous challenges. But when we've got them all going on together, this is also the pressure makes diamond energy, okay? And in a big way, if we are not succumbing to the pressure and really struggling to make it through this time as well, that's another kind of end of this spectrum of energy that we've had going on. And I've been saying this for the past couple weeks. This month of April, I think, is kind of leaning a little bit heavier into the potential for suicides and like overdoses to be going on. So just something to be mindful of as well. It is very challenging energy, and a lot of people I do think are going to be struggling with this. I mean, as we do hit Monday this week, this tension is absolutely being maxed out. We've got the exact conjunction between, I mean, Saturn, okay, and the North Node. Saturn is pressure, authority, duty, responsibility, limitation, work, restriction, control, responsibility, like overwhelm. We could just feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders somehow, or like we have some tremendous feat of labor that needs to be accomplished, and maybe we're just like with the sign of Pisces struggling or doubting our ability to follow through on that. Or with Venus there, this is relationship dynamics, this is other people, this is finances and assets and resources and property and land and food and stuff like that, and markets, like. And then with the black moon and the opposition to the sun, and the sun in the sign of Taurus, this could be fears and fears of loss. And again, like the darker side of things showing through. So I just, like, things could get a little bit ugly this week, and it may just be wise to be aware of that potential in advance, so that perhaps even if we are embroiled or enmeshed in some of these situations or circumstances, or find ourselves acting or living some of this out, at least maybe we can have somewhat of a conscious moment of awareness as we're moving through it, and maybe not internalize it or personalize it so much. Okay, so I am telling you guys this so that if possible we can kind of click into the more active observer role, instead of maybe getting ourselves all whipped up in some of these emotional storms that could be going on out there. Now, another thing about the energy on Monday, you guys, while we have these exact alignments hitting, where would you wager that the moon is? If you were a betting person out there and you've been following my channel for any period of time, where would you guess that the moon might be while we've got, well, that Saturn energy going on, and then also the fixed T-square or grand cross coming exact on Monday? I'll wait. Okay, yes, you guessed correctly. The moon is in a conjunction with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, opposite Mars, squaring the sun. Okay, so the moon is in essentially the most powerful point that it could be for triggering what is already this extremely intense energy that we've got going on out there. That's one of the ways that the moon functions. It is a trigger for planetary activity. The moon rules our emotions, our internal environment, how we're feeling about things, what's going on inside of us. As a result, when the moon like is involved in aspects that we've got going on out there, we have a tendency of feeling them more strongly and therefore being affected by them, and like affected in such a way that causes us to act and react more so than when the moon is not involved. And I often notice that the moon happens to be wherever it would be essentially making like the greatest energetic impact whenever we do have these big aspects setting up in the sky. And once again, that is the nature of reality. The moon will be in Aquarius in exact conjunction with Pluto while we've got this big square set up in the sky. And then of course, moving through Aquarius over this next couple of days as we move through the week, the moon will then square Uranus in Taurus, right? Who's in the trine to the north and south node. And then where does the moon move after Aquarius? The moon moves into Pisces. What do we've got going on in Pisces? That is where the alignment between the north node and Saturn is occurring. So, you know, the moon's going to be bing, 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 hitting each of the planets involved in, you know, these big energetic ongoings that we've got going on this week. So everything being extra amplified by the presence of the moon while these alignments come into fruition for us. So I would say some very influential energy. This could also represent the culmination of some like colossal effort that we have been undergoing to perhaps build or change or transform something somehow. We may find ourselves this week very involved in some type of like heavy lifting or like big effort that we're putting in to change, transform, or transition something. This is also a time to do what's been needed to be done. Like if you've been procrastinating on something difficult or some dirty job or something that you'd rather not get into, this is also really great energy for getting that done because of the way these alignments are coming together. Again, especially if you are like doing jobs that you'd normally like put off, things that you like don't usually want to look at. With the Pluto energy, with the black moon energy, and with Mars there, stuff like that is actually going to go better, faster, you know, dare I say easier than it might under conditions and circumstances when Mars, literally ruling like our energy, is not driving forward the ability to like clean and clear out and expose and illuminate whatever's been going on in the shadows. Okay, so like let's just say, for example, if there's like a dirty, like a really cluttered room or like a garage or something that you've been needing to get into and clean, you may find yourself just spontaneously feeling an urge to get it done in this energy, or just like ironically having had that thing on your to-do list for this period of time. Or if you didn't, this is again like the time to get the dirty jobs done, because that's just what this energy is supportive of as well. So if you've been procrastinating, and then also with the Saturnian element, this is like having the discipline to make it happen, even if it's not what we want to do, because that's another thing here. This week is like definitely probably not the most comfortable week. Saturn and Venus. Saturn constricts things, right? It limits things. Venus is like pleasure and indulgence and getting what we want and being comfortable. With Saturn there, it's essentially the lack of all of that, or just a very minimal amount, like not really having much of it. So it's probably not going to be the most comfortable week. It's probably not going to be the week where we're engaging in like the most, you know, TLC and pampering and like living the most luxurious life and stuff like that. This is a week, really, it really actually just is about getting our hands dirty, getting in the mud maybe, or just like conquering something, overcoming something in some personal quest for renewal somehow. It is about rising to a challenge though, interpersonal and relational power struggles, financial pressure, very emphasized here. Here is a beautiful, beautiful word of advice / caution for this energy, okay? Do not push people. Do not push people to the point of explosion, okay? Like this is a very good expression of this saying, you know, F around and find out. We don't want to F around this week, because you're going to find out and it's not going to be anything that you want to be involved in, okay? It's not going to be a pleasant experience. This energy, when pushed, okay, we're in this extreme tension, like crosshair energy. It can promote, with Mars and Pluto, it can promote violent, ruthless, almost even with, you know, all of this underworld energy, like borderline evil type of stuff going on here. You just don't want to really be on the other end of that for no reason, you know, just because you've been provoking somebody. It's not worth it. Much better use of the energy here is to focus on what we need to do to grow, what we need to do to move forward, to move on, or to remove blockages to growth that have been keeping us stuck, keeping us stagnant, keeping our position fixed for a period of time. You know, let people have their bad attitudes, let them have their meltdowns. I would generally avoid problematic or toxic people this week. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do to help them, and interpersonal dynamics just really are quite confrontational this week. I would just take a pass, take a rain check on things like that if you can. Also, another good piece of advice here is to make smart choices situationally, situational awareness. Don't put yourself in any type of, you know, vulnerable or compromised situation if you don't have to. Like, for example, don't take the dark alleyway way home if you can. Take, you know, the lighted, populated street path. It's just advisable when we have a Mars-Pluto opposition such as this, with the moon there and the sun and square and the black moon energy thing. It's just sketchy, okay? If you follow me, like, I just would advise against it. So situational awareness, make smart choices, don't put yourself in a vulnerable or compromised situation. There is this emphasis on the darker side of things in a big way, and also with Mars there, the impact that that is having on people's actions and behaviors. A lot of people are gonna be letting their dark side show, okay, and we're gonna probably be seeing some ugly truths about things that could be quite harsh and difficult. Maybe we'd rather avoid, but this is the time, okay? There is a major divine timing, divine alignment element of all that's going on right now. I mean, we've got Uranus aspecting the nodes of the moon, we've got Saturn aspecting the nodes of the moon, both exact, and we've got this Pluto moon situation with the square, as I said, and these fixed signs. Something has to happen now to create some impact that is large enough to, like, shake things loose in such a way that some type of new movement can start taking place. So, you know, to be honest, even the very best of us may experience glimmers of, like, our own darkness that is being triggered in this energy. Of course, many people are not going to be consciously aware of this and just acting it out. So all things to be mindful of, you know, ruthless energy. It is demanding. It is harsh. As I was saying, nothing really about this energy this week is, just overly sweet or gentle or kind or compassionate. It makes me think of the saying, no pain, no gain. That's, I think, kind of maybe a bit of the motto of the experience or the energy as it plays out this week. And so really, it is a week where we are best to just sort of step up, accept it, you know, suck it up, and realize that it's just one of those weeks where we need to do what needs to be done with as little self-pity and as little crying about it as possible, which in and of itself, I realize that me saying that also kind of sounds harsh, but it's just one of those periods of time. It is about discipline. It is about self-control. It is about getting the job done. Or on the other side of things, you guys, as I said, a lot of people are just gonna be imploding, dropping the ball, running away, refusing to face some of this stuff, which is gonna have its own set of karmic consequences that are a part of some fated lesson of growth that is associated with that particular path right now as well. So we really, you know, we need to do our best also not to judge other people, which is going to be happening, okay? Venus rules other people. Saturn is the judge. I feel like also we're probably gonna have a lot of, or other people are going to have about us, like a lot of opinions. There, again, could be a lot of critiques, a lot of judgments going on, or like being cast out there about like how people are acting or responding or handling certain situations that are going on right now. And we are best not to engage or to push people or to really get in other people's business. You know, there's a saying out there that says what other people think of you is none of your business. Okay, it doesn't need to matter to us. It literally does not. So this is a good week. Also, if you can find yourself or lead yourself or guide yourself, nudge yourself gently to that place where other people's opinions about you don't matter and are not relevant, it's probably also good for the mental health as we move through this energy, trying not to be too judgmental of other people. That's a good practice, I think, as we go through this week as well. Now, again, pulling it back out, as I was talking about earlier, I do feel like, you know, just the synchronistic alignment of these activations kind of all happening at once right now are very, in the planets and players involved, the way the energy is functioning, very indicative of a kind of like foundational transition point in our cosmic evolution into the greater age of Aquarius right now, in our shift of ages coming on, like a new activation point in our shift of ages is where we are arriving to as we move through this energy this week. But there is a very revolutionary nature to the energy in that regard as well, with the Grand Cross and fixed signs. I mean, Pluto in the sign of Aquarius and the Sun in Taurus and the Mars, Leo, Black Moon, Scorpio, North Node, Saturn, Venus, Uranus, the whole party that we've got going on. It's a revolutionary turning of time, I think. Again, another way of saying the stuff that is happening now is important in laying the foundation for the shift of ages that is currently underway. This is the fated breakdown with Saturn and the North Node in the sign of Pisces of belief systems and control structures that have defined our paradigm historically and over the past 2,000 years, the age of Pisces that we are transitioning out of right now. Power in all of its forms, Pluto in the sign of Aquarius being decentralized and also favoring any and all power models that are based in decentralization, while also concurrently the breakdown in the beliefs that have represented and functioned as the constructs of our reality are being dismantled, disintegrating, transitioning as well. The Saturn North Node alignment in the sign of Pisces, you guys, again, like Saturn is in the sign of Pisces representing the belief systems that have structured our interpretation of like our paradigm, that have been central in the foundation of our actual perception of reality. With, you know, Saturn being there in the North Node right now, this is a fated breakdown in that paradigm of belief as we transition into this new direction where power is being decentralized, and literally the way that we view and interact with reality is going to be changed and actually upgraded in alignment with an expansion of cosmic consciousness as we move throughout the course of the next 2,000 years. We are transitioning ages right now. We are moving through the buffer between ages, and I do think as of this Pluto Aquarius transit, also Neptune beginning a new cycle around the entire zodiac right now, we are beginning to lean more heavily into the Aquarius age energy that is coming in. And I do think like this specific period of time that we are moving through right now is what is loosening the tether to the Piscean paradigm of the past that has defined the nature of our reality up until this point in time. That's why it's like so drastically foundational. It's not like the whole age of Aquarius is like upon us now and happening now, but it's like in terms of the basket or the scales and which energy is dominating when you're going through any transitional process, like there comes a specific line that you cross where now, although you're still not all the way in one energy and you're not all the way in the other energy, there is one side that becomes more dominant, that becomes weighted more heavily depending, you know, obviously on where we're at. There's a threshold. We've been moving through that threshold. Personally, in my perception, I think the buffer between ages is probably a couple to, you know, several hundred years. These are 2,000 year spans of time. So a couple hundred years is really not that long. But I think that we have crossed as of literally like this year, last year, this period, I'll say between 2020 and 2030, I think we are and have, and this year specifically 2025, I guess would be the epicenter of that period of time. We are crossing the threshold where the weight is now in the Aquarius basket and no longer in the Pisces basket, where it has been as we've been transitioning through this buffer period over the past, I don't know, 100 years, couple hundred years. So that's my perspective in terms of how I'm just personally viewing and reading the way that all this is coming together. You know, as I said, for me, from my little teeny humble perspective here. But I think that as we move forward now, we're going to start to see changes begin to happen that make the transition into the heavier, more dominant Aquarian energy more obvious. And, you know, in consideration of that and what would be required in order for something like that to take place, it would make sense that there would be epic breakdowns, epic breakthroughs, like these foundational transformation, and also the tension and challenges that we encounter now as this energy does seek to transform both the physical and energetic environments around us and within us. It seems like our experiences would probably reflect that same level of magnitude or intensity that would be required in order for a transition of such a tremendous impact, such as a shift of ages, to take place. So, you know, what I really mean to say here is it's not really a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise to us that this energy right now is a struggle. It is just generally, you know, no walk in a park, no walk in the park. And it's not meant to be, because the purpose of this energy right now is transformation. You know, it's meant to change us. As I said, like, pressure makes diamonds. Like, it's meant to forge us in the fire into some upgraded version of ourselves that is more aligned with this new energy that's coming in, so that we ourselves can become a vessel and an anchor for this systemic transformation that's taking place right now. Microcosm, macrocosm. It's happening in the energy fields above and around us, but us being antennas and receptors of this energy are embodying these frequencies and adapting to them as well as we go through these changes in our lives right now. So, you know, the purpose of these times really is to change us fundamentally at our core, or fundamentally our lives, to transform our lives in some type of way. And therefore, it's probably going to take these more powerful experiences to promote such a powerful transformation to take place within us or around us. Again, things that have been maintaining power, or like that have been perceived as the status quo or the pillar of the status quo for a long period of time, are being forced to relinquish power in this energy as something new emerges that will be like carrying the torch heading forward. The fact, you know, that Saturn is there with the North Node through all of this, like that again is the fated breakdown, and also the implementation of, because Pisces is a very dualistic sign. When we're dealing with Pisces energy, obviously Gemini is like this too. Libra can be like this as well with the scales, but specifically Pisces. Like when we're dealing with Pisces energy, things are happening according to two polarized octaves. While on one hand, this energy is dissolving things and breaking them down. On the other hand, this energy is supporting the implementation of something along the lines of rules, authority, boundaries, control, duty, maturity, responsibility, with it being Saturn. This is representing, with Venus there, also, I think, in a lot of ways, a moment of sobriety, or just, you know, it could be literal, but I don't know. A lot of people actually, to be completely honest with you, and this is another thing with the two sides of the same coin, like the two very oppositional outcomes here. I've said that to me, this is a red flag energy for any type of like drug or alcohol overdoses, like people just looking for an out, looking for an escape, and things perhaps getting out of control with Saturn in Pisces. But on the other side of that, there's also going to be a lot of people right now who quit addictions or quit drinking or stop doing drugs, decide to become just more self-controlled or self-disciplined or more mature or responsible, or feel like they just don't want to engage in stuff like that anymore as well. So to the same extent, you know, that people are going to be using that type of thing to escape reality, another group of people is going to be implementing new like laws or rules for themselves that don't include that type of activity. So two oppositions going on there as well. But there is this energy that is just making me feel like we're taking things more seriously. Maybe we are finally stopping lying to ourselves about something, specifically with Venus there, maybe the true value of something. But, or again, on the other side, this could be where we are choosing to reject or avoid or escape the reality of something altogether. So same situation. On one hand, coming to a point where we are no longer willing to lie to ourselves about something, or specifically someone, or specifically the true value of something, or on the other hand, where we are just refusing to participate in the reality altogether and doing everything possible to avoid having to look at or acknowledge that truth. I see actually also a lot of people working very hard to undo something or to transition something in this energy. This is very, very work-oriented energy as well, with Mars and Pluto in opposition. Again, like heavy lifting, or like just a big job that requires a lot of energy that we've been putting off, maybe, that needs to be done. But transitional also, it's like we've got to do it so that we can move forward with something or start something new or get to a new place somehow. And also things related to the first week of November, this past 2024, could also be relevant somehow this week. That was the last time that we actually had Mars and Pluto in an opposition with each other, and Leo and Aquarius. If you guys remember back to that point in time, Mars had just entered the sign of Leo and came to an opposition with Pluto, who had just entered the sign of Aquarius. So we had that dynamic occur once, then Mars stationed retrograde, went back into Cancer, and now we have this dynamic setting up again. So there could just be something about the beginning of November that is relevant somehow as we move through this week as well. These are most likely, I do feel like, going to feature some huge transformative moves or power plays being made, especially in terms of financial control, maybe on the world stage level. I would expect some significant like macrocosm events to be playing out this week, maybe to do with financial alliances, negotiations, pressure, who is in control and like who is working with who, partnerships and stuff like that. We could also see like some type of big government or financial oriented event take place somehow. This could also feature some type of military control or display of power, or even like war battle themed activity going on also, as we do have this powerful confrontational energy with Mars and Pluto. And again, there's a super revolutionary dynamic to things here also, so there could be like revolutions popping off here and there. Would not be surprised in energy such as this. It is definitely a pressure cooker out there. Money, power, and control, okay, are at the root of this when we've got Taurus, the sun in Taurus squaring Mars and Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius, with the Venus Saturn North Node conjunction going on. We could also, you guys, see some like literal very strong storms playing out. This could have to do with destructive like actual earth events going on also. The sun is at 2 degrees of Taurus when the sun comes into exact square with Mars and Leo. That Sabian symbol is an electrical storm, illuminates the heavens and the forests. Another, you know, that symbol, the way that symbol is hitting too, aside from literally talking about electrical storms, which is something that we could see go on here, illuminates the heavens and the forests, makes me think of night, you know, the darkness. and being able to, for a flash, for an instant, like see that like all lit up, which is Sun, you know, opposite Black Moon is Scorpio, Mars opposite Pluto, this square going on, like that is what this energy is indicating as well. Being given a glimpse, illuminating the shadows, illuminating the darkness in a way that we don't normally get to see, perceive, and intervene with as well. Interventions is another big theme I've been feeling coming through here, which is funny because I was just talking about the like the polarization here between like the overdosing on drugs and alcohol end of things and also the abstaining from drugs and alcohol end of things. And then I'm also thinking intervention. I really bet that is one way that energy is prominently manifesting this week. It does have something to do. This fixed square to me, you know, we talk about, you know, microcosm, macrocosm. We will probably see some bigger things play out on a world stage because of this, but it's also, I mean, the moon is there. The moon is with Pluto. Powerful temptations, powerful urges, maybe the urge to give in to something, maybe the urge to succumb to something, maybe being tested with our ability to abstain from something. I don't know, but this energy this week and last week also was making me feel like the devil and the angel on the shoulder type of situation, and like, what are we going to, like, how strong are we going to be? You know what I mean? Like, what are we aligned with? And are we going to allow ourselves to fall back into maybe like these karmic patterns? Or are we at a point where, you know, for once and for all, like, we're taking our power back and we are going to be more in control of the way that our future goes going forward because of the essentially what we're choosing not to do anymore? Because with Saturn in the sign of Pisces as well, that's also boundaries, limitations. Pisces breaks things down. That is the North Node is destiny. It is just as much what we are no longer going to choose, what we are no longer going to be controlled by, and what is no longer, what we're no longer going to view as having power over us, essentially, as it is about losing control, which is another way that Saturn and Pisces can definitely manifest. So with that Sabian symbol, you know, the electrical storm illuminates the heavens and the forest. We could see literal storms. It's also talking about the darkness suddenly being lit up for some reason. And then we also, 2 degrees of Leo where Mars is another degree that is kind of like, I don't know. It's an epidemic of mumps to Leo. So heat, rash, the spread of things, you know, things spreading quickly. This could also, with Saturn, I mean, the Pisces right now, so highlighted energetically as well. This is, again, drugs. This is pharmaceuticals. There could be something about pharmaceuticals, or with Saturn, like the pharmaceutical industry, medical experts maybe, or even like some type of illness that is becoming prominent or spreading, or just a theme somehow that's emerging this week. So could be a highlight on things having to do with stuff along those lines as well. But something groundbreaking, I just feel like, is going to come from this. Uranus in the trine to the South Node as well. Major activation point, ushering us forth into the age of Aquarius. Hugely fated dimension to all of this. Divine timing very much at play. Sudden karmic release and the fated changes that result in association with that. Karmic turning point here. Trials, tribulations, and temptations. What we need to overcome, what we need to conquer within ourselves, perhaps, to essentially actually like unlock a new freedom that can align us with a path that is going to be so much more abundant and is going to bring in so many more options and opportunities. That's another thing that we do have going on here. I mean, Jupiter is still transiting the sign of Gemini. Jupiter is direct right now. Jupiter is actually on Monday at 20 degrees of Gemini, a cafeteria with abundance of choices. Our ability to overcome our past selves, or to overcome the past, or to let go of something and move on, is directly associated with our ability to align ourselves with a whole new range of set of options and opportunities and possibilities that we may not have imagined for ourselves, but actually are possible if we can go through this upgrade, if we can let go, if we can overcome whatever barrier to growth we may have been coming up against in the past somehow. So again, like not falling back into old patterns, reorienting ourselves and our lives in a way that promotes and unlocks like this next level that we're moving towards, growth, letting go. That is the only path forward right now. And it seems just very, very obvious the way that all of this is happening, coming together. We also, what's interesting to me, the degree where the North Node and Venus and Saturn are coming to their exact alignment, it's 26 degrees of Pisces, but when we read the Sabian symbols, we round up a degree. We read the incoming wave of energy, the energy that is building in, not the wave of energy that is moving out, because of course, energy moves in waves. So we want to read what is pulling in. And so we look at the Sabian symbol for 27 Pisces. That Sabian symbol is the harvest moon, illuminates a clear autumnal sky. So on one hand, again, we have a reference to a light source illuminating the darkness in a way that makes things very clear and perceivable and perceptible. But also this is speaking directly to the harvest moon, which happens in accordance with the autumnal equinox. So this is the full moon that will come in the end of September, beginning of October next fall. So there could be something, just because of this symbol at place, that will also be right around the next eclipse season coming up. But there could be something that begins now, or that is put in place now, or that is implemented now, that starts impacting or starts showing itself then. So September or October could somehow be related to what we've got going on this week and as we move through the month of April. Lastly, the position of the South Node is at 27 degrees of Virgo right now. That Sabian symbol is aristocratic elderly ladies drinking afternoon tea in a wealthy home. And the South Node, of course, this is associated with release. And we've got Uranus in the sign of Taurus that is exactly trying that South Node energy. And with that symbol in play, like that being the energy that is being like shooken up and essentially released right now, status quo, wealth, value, comfort, tradition, convention, all the things similarly associated with the Taurian energy, where Uranus is perhaps just being phased out somehow, not forever, but there is a revaluing that needs to go on. Anything that's superficial, anything that is like not forthright, again, like anything that is portraying itself as something that it's not, or that is like inflating the value of what it's truly worth. I just think that these things are not going to be able to continue to maintain that facade. Like there is something here about exposing the true value, the true worth of all things in a way that is requiring authenticity, or else it's just not going to be able to maintain or hold any energy. So there's that, you guys. That's what I think. That's how I'm reading this energy. That's what essentially I have to say about all that we've got going on and playing out as we enter our week this week. As we move through the week, the intensity is not really waning much. We actually have the exact Mars-Pluto alignment, oppositional alignment will happen. I think it's as we head towards the weekend. I'll talk more about this in the next video. And then on Sunday, we have our new moon in the sign of Taurus, which also is in a square to Mars and Pluto in nearly an exact opposition. So this energy right now is quite definitive of not only, this month of April that we've been moving through, but also it's going to continue to play out through the Taurus cycle, as a lot of this energy will still be present for our new moon and Taurus energy. And new moon energy represents what is going to play out through the course of that lunar cycle. So we just have these like barriers to production or movement or growth or something that are in the process of being collapsed, like adjusted, shaken loose somehow over this next couple of weeks, and it's ultimately going to be a good thing. That I do feel very confident about. Just to, you know, I think I've said sufficiently that we should kind of just like be ready to like buck up a bit this week and like try not to be too emotional about it, try not to throw ourselves too much of a pity party, like try our best to be mature and be responsible and just realize that sometimes it's just going to be harder than other times, and like this is one of those times, and frame it as the like pressure makes diamonds mindset, and know that what we're going through right now and the effort that we're putting out, it is not in vain. It is actually very essential. It is very purposeful, and it is building a character that is crucial in terms of like where we're going next and this next leg of the journey that we're moving towards. But it just might not be the like most pleasant experience as we go through it, but that doesn't mean that we should try to get out of it. These things are happening at a specific time for a specific reason, and we got to do what we got to do, even if we don't necessarily want to. That's my advice. Let's talk about the tarot for a minute now, you guys. We got a powerful tarot message coming in today, literally like exactly in alignment with what these energies would be indicating. We got the Devil in reverse, the Magician, and the Fool. Finding the power within ourselves to conquer that which has held power over us in the past and prevented us from going on a new journey, going in a new direction, stepping into our true potential, like activating our destiny, becoming our most powerful and purposeful version of ourselves. That is where this energy is moving us, okay? The age of Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, as I said earlier, has a lot to do with self-actualization, with activating destiny, with cultivating potential and cultivating authentic purpose and fulfillment. With the Magician here, this is discovering all the tools that we hold within to consciously create and manifest the Fool, this next leg of the journey, this next level that we are unlocking. But how do we do that? We've got to slay the demon, right? Like we've got to overcome, we've got to conquer attachments, temptation, our lower nature, our shadow side, gaining an awareness, and through that conscious awareness, gaining power and control over perhaps like our own like more base instinctual ego drives and stuff like that, also with Mars in the sign of Leo right now. So to me, this is a real also powerful. We've got all major arcana here / exactly aligned message. Like we're literally talking about the Fool and the Magician, manifesting in and of our own power and potential, or the opportunities that we are drawing to us as a result of, you know, what we're discovering or pulling out of ourselves right now, or our ability to conquer, overcome like this brand new era of our lives. But like the Devil in reverse, that is the challenge, at least the way that the cards are presenting. On the back of the deck, we actually have the Nine of Swords in reverse also. We have less to worry about, you guys, than we think. Things could definitely feel very scary. Like this could be a very stressful, tense time, but we actually, with the Nine of Swords in reverse, it's more so the illusion of the fear than like something that is actually going to prevent our ability to do the job that needs to be done, or to conquer that demon, or to slay the dragon. I don't know, however it's going out there for you. So we're stepping into the Magician, you guys, in order to begin this new journey, to start down this new path where we are in a place of self-empowerment over, again, perhaps that which has held power over us in the past, that has maybe blocked us from doing what this point in time is calling us to do right now, up until this point in time, which this whole divine timing thing coming back around again, it's craziness, you guys. Crazy times out there. epic astrology going on, and I would expect our lives and experiences to reflect that. Also want to tell you guys on that same note, I'm moving. If you guys have been following my videos for this past couple weeks, I have been giving some insight slightly into some of these situations that I have personally been dealing with that are like lining up with how this whole planetary situation is unfolding itself right now. I recently have been going through some very personal transitions, and I'm going to be moving within this next couple of weeks. By May 1st, I'm going to be in a new house in a new location. Today is actually April 16th when I'm recording this. So I've got 14 days. I got 2 weeks as of today. I don't know, like, because of that, and it's a pretty big move. I'm, you know, moving everything, and if you guys have moved before, you know that that's a very big job, and I'm really gonna do my best to keep my videos consistent, as they always are, over this next couple of weeks. But I don't know exactly how things are gonna look. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know if this is the last video. Like, I'm not exactly sure when I'm gonna start shooting in my new location, because actually the way it's worked out, I'm like moving throughout the course of the month of April. I've been so crazy busy, and I'm sure you guys have been too with the way this energy is going on, but I've been moving like incrementally in every single ounce of spare time that I have throughout the course of this month of April, and I'm going to continue moving for this next couple of weeks. So I'm not sure at which point this stuff and this setup is going to get moved over there, but so just letting you know, you may see me in a very different location within the next video or two. Or also I might have to miss a video here or there depending on just how things go or how all this comes together. But I am going to do my best to stay on track. So that's an update on my situation as well. I'm moving, going to be in a new location as of May 1st. Let me know. Also, I'm very interested if you are also moving or relocating right now. Let me know. Also, specifically, if you're a Gemini ascendant or if you have strong Gemini placements, let me know if you are moving or going through a process, like moving or transitioning like your location in any type of way right now. Just I'm interested for my own personal reasons. I know a couple of Gemini ascendants right now that are also going through moves, so I'm wondering how many of you out there are involved in like literally changing your location throughout this couple of months span right here. So anyways, let's get a synchronicity card now. I'm going to ask God, Spirit, Universe for a final, oh, that was fast. And look at this, you guys. Our guidance to keep in mind as we move through the week is my favorite message that I possibly could have seen drawn for us right now, and that is, you are protected. Which, what better is there to hear when you know that you like could potentially have some type of just like battle that you need to wage, or something that you need to conquer, or some like big job that needs to be done, or just something that you would rather not do but like you can't avoid. You are protected is, to me at least, that's exactly what I want to hear. Okay, it says, for he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. Psalms 91:11. Know your guardian angel is with you always, protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe when fear overwhelms you. Read the 91st Psalm in its entirety and rest in the assurance you are protected. And literally, like with the Pluto opposition and the Black Moon opposition and this grand cross and fixed signs and that I'm talking about, like, fear is a thing here. Okay, the Black Moon, that's our fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts. Pluto oftentimes has to do with like where we surrender power to things outside of us out of some deep-seated fears, especially like with the Taurus Scorpio axis here, also like fears to do with loss and like financial instability and insecurity, and again like the foundations of the reality shifting under our feet and wondering maybe if we're just gonna fall right through into the utter void, you know. But Our guidance came shooting right out. I literally didn't even have to shuffle the cards today. And this energy says that you are protected. So I think that we should just take that and run with it. And I do believe that, again, like, this is divine timing, okay? If there has to be an occurrence of, you know, something that is scary, or like something that is super uncomfortable, or like something that is awful, or that like we don't want to deal with, at least the fact of like understanding or knowing that it's happening in such a divine alignment, and that there is going to be such a magnitude of purpose behind it, and that we do get the, you know, the synchronicity card, you are protected. There is spiritual protection. There is a higher power that is a cosmic consciousness, I guess we could say, you know, however you perceive that, God, great spirit, universe, whatever your connection to the cosmic consciousness is, like, that is really what is orchestrating a lot of this. And there is nothing to fear. As I said in the tarot reading, also the Nine of Swords in reverse, like, things may seem scary, they may seem daunting, they may seem totally out of our control, they may seem like we are, you know, it's us against the night or something, but for whatever reason, it's not as bad as we think that it, or as that it appears. And keep in mind, okay, that you are protected. Your guardian angel is with you always, protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe. When fear overwhelms you, read the 91st Psalm in its entirety and rest in the assurance you are protected. So that is what I have to say today, you guys, about the astrology. Another long one. Sorry about that. I know I like go on and repeat things over and over, but it's just like a free flow of the universe, you guys, and there are just some points that need to be emphasized right now. So that's that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Otter Spirit. You guys know I love their jewelry. I'm wearing shungite today, for sure. Grounding, protective influence. I also have Tiger's Eye on 2 ways. I have a Tiger's Eye mini bracelet. I've got this Tiger's Eye solitaire bracelet going on as well. If you also like gemstone jewelry, if you want to grab some Otter Spirit bracelets also, I have a promo code for 20% off and a link for 20% off in my description box as well. All my gemstones at this point in time come from Otter Spirit, and I've been really happy with this jewelry, so that's where you can get that. Other than that, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you liked the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments, you guys. As I said earlier, let me know if you are going through moves right now, changing locations right now. Just would like to have a little bit of extra info to put into the database. So let me know if you're also having any other experiences that line up with what I'm talking about or describing in these videos. Very relevant, very valuable information to me. Drop it in the comment section below. Let me know. Thank you guys for that. I truly appreciate, value, and adore your presence here so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support as well. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group in my description box below. You can click that link, go to that group, and I post all of the boards over there. You can see the picture of the whole boards if you're interested in that. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. Obviously, as we continue to move through this week, we have more big astrology that we're going to be talking about. We are going to focus specifically on the Mars-Pluto opposition on Wednesday, and then on Friday we will have our new moon in Taurus video that is going to be elaborating on the month ahead. So that's what's coming up next, you guys. I will be back to talk all about it. You should come back too. You surely don't want to miss it. And I will see you next time, everybody. Have a beautiful intro to your week, and until then, bye guys.